The soul has no need to go off visiting strange houses, since her own is brimming with blessings. All she has to do is enjoy them. Who is it that everything she needs in her own house? Whose guest lays out all good things at her feet? All the soul has to do is cultivate the intention not to go astray like the prodigal son, who chose the food of swine. O my Lord and my God, this worldly habit of falling into vanities ruins everything. Our faith is so feeble that we desire what we can see rather than what faith is trying to tell us about. But when we take a good look, all we see is that those who pursue these visible vanities end up in nothing but misfortune. It is the poisonous creatures we have been dealing with that cause all this trouble. When a viper bites someone and the wound swells, his whole being is toxified. If we do not take care of ourselves, this is what will happen to us. Many remedies will be required to cure us, and only God's great mercy will keep our wound from killing us. Once the spirit of evil begins to detect that the character and habits of the soul indicate her readiness to move ahead on her path, all the powers of hell will be gathered to drive her back outside. Oh, my beloved, here is where we need your help. Without it, we can do nothing. In your mercy, do not allow such a soul to suffer delusion and go astray when she has only just begun her journey. Give her light so that she may see that all goodness lies within, and so that she may turn away from bad companions. It is a wonderful thing for the soul to connect with others who walk the way she is walking, who are not only sitting in the rooms she enters, but who she knows have already ventured more deeply toward the center. Conversations with these travelers will be of great benefit to the soul. She can get close enough to them so that they will be able to take her with them. May the soul always cultivate her intention not to be vanquished. If the spirit of evil sees that she is willing to lose her life, her tranquility, and everything else that it can offer rather than return to the first dwelling, it will soon give up on her. Let the soul be strong and not behave like those soldiers who knelt down to drink before going into battle. Let her be steadfast as she goes forth to stand against all the minions of unconsciousness raging inside her, knowing that there are no weapons superior to the peace of the cross. If the soul were to be thinking about personal gratification at this stage, it would be a shaky way to build such a great and precious edifice of prayer. When a foundation is made on sand, the whole structure comes tumbling down. Souls seeking consolation will never be free of dissatisfaction and temptation. This is not the dwelling where manna rains from paradise. That comes later, when a soul grows to want what God wants, and finds in the manna all that her heart desires. How strange! We still have 1,000 imperfections and impediments. Our virtues are so young, they have barely begun to grow. Thank God they have even been born. And yet we shamelessly grasp for spiritual satisfaction and complain about spiritual aridity. Please don't be like this, friends. Embrace the cross that your beloved bore on his shoulders, and accept that it is yours also to carry. Let she who is capable of the most intense suffering suffer most intensely for him. Her liberation will be all the more perfect. If God grants you some sweet favor, give heartfelt thanks. This is purely a bonus. It's tempting to think that if God would only grant you internal favors, you would be able to withstand external challenges. His Majesty knows what is best for us. He does not require our opinion on the matter, and, in fact, he has every right to point out that we don't have any idea what we're asking for. Remember, all you have to do, as you begin to cultivate the practice of prayer, is to prepare yourself with sincere effort and intent to bring your will into harmony with the will of God. I promise you that this is the highest perfection to be attained on the spiritual path. The more perfectly you practice this surrender, the greater the gifts you will receive from the Beloved, and the farther you will advance on your journey. Don't think you have to use esoteric jargon or dabble in the mysteries of the unknown. If we miss the mark right at the beginning, trying to direct things according to our own cravings, in hopes that God will cooperate, what kind of base are we laying down for our sacred edifice? Let's do whatever we can to avoid those poisonous little reptiles. Sometimes it is actually God's will that we are plagued by bad thoughts we cannot get rid of, and spiritual aridity we cannot alleviate. Sometimes he even lets the serpents bite us to see if we suffer grief for having offended him, and so that we learn to guard ourselves better against future error. And if you fall sometimes, do not lose heart. Keep striving to walk your path with integrity. God will draw out the good even from your fall, just as the man who sells antidotes will drink poison to test their effectiveness. If nothing else could highlight our own misery or reveal to us the harm we are doing to ourselves by living a dissipated life, this battle unfolding inside of us would be enough to bring us back to recollection. What could be worse than not being at home in our own house? What hope do we have of finding rest outside of ourselves if we cannot be at ease within? Whether or not we appreciate them, we must always live in close proximity to our faculties. They are the greatest relatives and most faithful friends. And yet, as if they were resentful of the damage of our imperfections have done to them, our faculties seem to be waging war upon us. Peace, peace, Christ says, my friends. He often urged peace upon his own disciples. Believe me, if we don't cultivate peace at home, we will not find it in alien places. End the war. By the blood that he shed for us, I ask those of you who have not begun to go inside yourselves to enter now. And those who are already in, don't let warfare make you turn back. A relapse is worse than a lapse. You can already see what you've lost. Trust more in the mercy of God and less in your own judgment. Then you will see how His Majesty brings you safely from one dwelling to the next and settles you in a land where those wild beasts cannot touch you or do you any harm. You yourself will have power over these creatures. You will laugh at them. You will enjoy more blessings than you ever imagined, in this life, I mean. Remember when you are tormented by the spirit of evil, you cannot recollect yourself by force. Recollection must come gently. Little by little, you will be able to practice prayer for longer periods undisturbed. Don't neglect to consult people with experience so that they can assure you there is nothing wrong with your practice, that you are doing exactly what you are supposed to be doing. Even if you encounter no one to teach you, don't give up. The Beloved will guide you on your path. There is no other remedy for the error of quitting your practice except to start up again at the beginning. Otherwise, the soul loses more of herself every day. May it please God, my friends, that you come to understand how this works. Some of you may think that if turning back is so bad, it would be better never to have begun, that you might as well have stayed outside the castle in the first place. I told you right from the start, and Christ himself has said, that whoever walks in danger shall perish in it. The door to this castle is prayer. It is ridiculous to think that we can enter paradise without first entering ourselves. We must get to know ourselves, reflect on our limitations, acknowledge our gratitude for God, and solicit his mercy. Christ, who is love, says, "No one gets to the Father except through me," or something like that. He also says, "He who sees me sees my Father." Well, if we never look at him or reflect on what he has given us and the death that he endured for us, then I can't imagine how we will come to know him or do good works in service of him. What is faith worth without works? What are works worth without connection to the goodness of Christ? Who will awaken us to love this Beloved? May His Majesty give us understanding of the magnitude of His sacrifice, reminding us that the servant is not greater than the master, and that we need to exert effort to harvest His glory. And so we must pray without ceasing and leave temptation behind.